Silver and Black officially got a release date, which I can't believe they're actually going to go with this, but we'll talk about that here, for February 8th, 2019, versus Lego Movie 2.
I mean, it's still not going to happen. No. The TASM universe had a release date.
Can we just call Sony the real Suicide Squad of Hollywood? Like, these guys just march the fuck in and get picked off one by one. This movie, I can't believe they're still committing to it. Why? What are you doing? And not only that, we're hearing that Chameleon, Tombstone, and Tarantula are going to be villains in this movie.
Yep.
Nobody wants this.
It's not going to happen. I'm sticking by it.
I don't...
Even if those characters were big enough to headline a movie, I mean, I like Black Cat as a character. I don't know Silver Sable too well, but if you're going to have them headline a movie, why would you choose some villains that only the real diehard comic fans are going to even heard
and
of?
It's
because
not only even that, it's like they're stacking themselves up against the Lego movie, right? Which is already going to destroy them and pummel them to the ground. But the week after is the untitled X-Men movie, which is rumored to be X-Force. This, once again, we're in the argument of a stacked year. But not just that. It's a movie that, once again, people are already turning on because you don't have the core character who brings all these characters together, which is Spider-Man. So I don't want to see Tombstone or Chameleon or Black Cat without Spider-Man. So where do they come off now with this movie, and what do you do with it? Because is anybody here going to be willing to see that without all these characters that they need in there? Like, why?
Unless the trailers are amazing, I'm not seeing this in theaters. I'm just not.
Like,
simple as that.
I mean, I'm not even really interested in seeing this movie.
I don't think anyone is.
Have you seen any positive?
No.
Have you seen any positive reactions at all?
I don't see anyone ever talk about these movies unless they've actually said something.
Yeah.
Unless like a release date's come out, it's the only time people talk about it.
Like,
but it's like the Gambit movie, you forget it exists until someone brings it up.
It doesn't exist.
It's one of these things where I would say Black Cat is probably my top 5 favorite female comic book characters. Like, I love that character. I've read so much on her, and it's like I'm just like, oh yeah, man, this shit exists, and I'm not excited because of the character that Black Cat is. I don't think they can translate well to a movie if they're gonna go a certain route. So the natural route they have to take just seems like a cat burglar who's gonna wear all black, and I'm like, well, that's stupid. So because I'm not trusting them to deal with the whole rape aspect of any of that. So it's like, well, I'm not then interested in this movie if you're not going to touch upon the subjects that kind of make this character interesting and make her different than a lot of other characters. So in Silver Sable, I don't fucking know barely anything about her. So does anybody know about her? Does anybody care about Silver Sable?
She's a European freedom fighter, basically.
Okay.
Oh.
But I mean, does it reek of Halle Berry's Catwoman to anyone else? Because I mean, it's a Catwoman movie, but there's no Batman.
Yeah.
It feels like it's going to be the same sort of shit. They're going to have to change everything about the character since Spider-Man's not going to be related in any way to it, apparently.
Yeah.
I know I don't think she works as a movie, as Armin just said. I think she works very well in video games.
I think with Catwoman and Black Cat, you could make a movie.
You could.
I just
have to be based at least in a universe that Batman is acknowledged. They're just going to ignore Spider-Man throughout these, apparently.
Yeah, there needs to be something there, but
to me, it's weird because the story that made me love Black Cat was The Evil That Men Do, because that's like the first thing I picked up that was after I saw her in the Spider-Man cartoon, which I think a lot of people know her from that one. And it's like, that is completely not the character of Black Cat, but it's good enough that it's the most popular one. But if they're going to go that route, I guess that's cool, and you can take that aspect of it. But I want the comic version, which they're not going to do, and they're not going to deal with those touchy subjects, which I honestly feel that if they were ballsy enough, they would do a standalone Black Cat movie, and then if you were to just tell that story and you don't include Spider-Man, then I'm like, well, shit, this is some heavy subjects you're tackling here with, such... It'd be like if Batgirl did The Killing Joke, you could go in a different direction and talk about how that mentally messes her up. And that's what I'm hopeful Joss Whedon do, and I think they could do that with Black Cat. But the story they're presenting here, it's like, she's on the run and she steals an object, and then a spy comes after her who wears all silver, but then they team up to stop the eviler guy because they have a common enemy. I'm like, you just sound so cliche and bullshit that I don't want this.
Was she on the run before stealing the object? Because, I mean, if you're on the run already, maybe stop committing crimes for a while.
But when you have... Your powers are luck-based.
If stuff keeps going missing from expensive museums, the police have a pretty easy way of tracking where she's going. Like, that's not a good way to be on the run.
Yeah, I don't know. Nothing about this movie makes me interested. Absolutely nothing. Like, there is nothing they've said. They could already cast, like, I don't know who the hell is my favorite actress right now. I don't know, but even if they put her in the role, I'd be like, nah, you can't do that. It's just...
Phoenix Marie as Black Cat.
Well, I'll get that parody, so I'm set on that one, so don't worry about that. But, like...
That's the version that people are going to watch. That'll be amazing if the porn parody makes more.
11.
No, what is it?
Just do like an Ocean's 11 style movie.
See,
Black Cat. So it's the only type of movie you can really do.
See, that I would be into if it's like a giant ensemble and the who's of the villains have to kind of maybe steal something. I'm like, okay, if you use smaller villains and stuff, maybe that's how you do like a Sinister Six or something. But it's like, still, they're going too grandiose with characters that aren't grandiose. So you got nothing. You literally have nothing with this movie. And it's bad when, my wife's the other biggest Black Cat fan I know, and she goes, anytime I remind her of it, she goes, oh yeah, that shit's coming out. And then she like glazes her eyes over. She's just like, like, nobody wants this. So, Sony, shut up. Nobody wants this crap.
Well, at least they still have their gaming and TV divisions.
Yeah.
Do they have TV still?
Yeah, they do.
They stopped making camcorders a couple of years ago, though. They're slowly stopping making everything that they used to be standard for.
They don't need camcorders when they got the mirrorless cameras. Those are great.
I mean, Sony used to make these amazing, like, broadcast quality cameras. Like, when I was at college and uni, like, my lecturers would rave about Sony cameras and how they were the best.
But the Sony cameras are still one of the best, because even though it's not camcorder, it's one of these
I'm using camcorder as shorthand. I don't mean...
No, okay, well, because camcorder is kind of for that basic of, like, you buy, like, $40 or something, and you just open it up on the side, like...
We're not talking about holiday handycams. I mean,
they still have great cameras that people use. They have 4K in them. They have amazing cameras. Their gaming is amazing. Like, that's what they have. Their cameras and their gaming. I don't really know about their TV. I'm not into Sony TVs. I don't know too much about it, but
all my TVs have been Sony.
So I mean, there you go. Like, I think the only thing that's not there is probably the movie division, because the cameras are amazing. And I love mine. I've had one, haven't had one before, but when I got this one, I was like, dude, this is like the best. And
I'm one of these things where people are like, the guy's a Sony fanboy. I'm like, dude, you could not get me to buy anything Sony besides PlayStation. Like, I hated their laptops. I've had one. I didn't like their camcorders. Like, I never liked any of those. The only thing I like is their PlayStation, and I only like that because of the exclusive games they get on it, like Uncharted and, Last of Us. Like, and their movie division, I have no fucking loyalty to at all. Like, that's the one company I look at, and they're like, Sony's making this movie, and I'm like, and I'll make sure I avoid that movie, unless it's Spider-Man.
I don't necessarily know when they started the mirrorless stuff, but that is kind of the more, like, it's pretty much the same quality as a DSLR, but maybe can even be better. It's smaller. The only problem with this is just a little like overheating when you use it for too long, but that's because of the smaller base and everything together. So, but other than that, like, the quality is just like it, not even before I had a Sony camera. Like, I've known people who work with them for a living that tell me they're amazing. Like, people just know the brand of Canon, so they always get Canon, which is not bad. Which is really not, like, Canon is one of the best ones, but it's just Sony is up there too with their cameras.
My old Sony camera, I just loved it. It was enormous, great big thing that was used for it was like a television production, and like independent films were used on it. But it was like you had to rest it on your shoulder sometimes, during walking shots, because it was that heavy. Only reason I got rid of it is because I got sick of carrying it around Comic Cons.
And notice this, how we're talking about Sony in a different light. Like, that's the thing with Sony.
They're different companies.
It's what they're good at.
The same name.
Yeah. It's their film division is definitely the one that's taken the biggest hit, and I'm still predicting they're not going to be around here in 3 years. But hey, I guess we'll talk about that down the road, along with Silver and Black Winter Bombs if it comes out, because that's the death of the studio. But for now, it's over.